Hello everybody, my name is Grant Ellis. I am a member of the WebDM team, producer of the Twitch channel, and director of the Night's Black Agents Dracula Dossier campaign. By way of introductions, I'd like to introduce our sponsors. Our sponsors are Pelgrane Press, who have produced the game Night's Black Agents. They were courteous enough to provide us copies of the game, as well as discounts to get 20% off all Night's Black Agents products. Likewise, the campaign that we are playing is the Dracula Dossier, which is a highly collaborative campaign, improvisational throughout. It's a collection of about 7 books in props, a book of props, and that's what we've been running here for the past more or less 12 weeks, 3 months now on WebDM Show. Our music for the session tonight is the soundtrack Dust and Mirrors. It has been given to us through Pelgrane, permission to use on all streams where we're playing this game. So for those of you unfamiliar with the game, this is a vampire spy thriller game. We have reached the final arc of the campaign, and we're going to look to finish this in about 3 or 4 episodes. Currently, when last we left our intrepid rogue agents, they are on the HMS Proserpina. That's this vessel, which you should see on the screen. And one of our players is entangled with a scary and powerful vampire, Audrone from Germany. She is currently trying to eat one of the player characters, and she is being taunted and fueled by one Dr. Draws, aka Jacqueline Seward, who is using vampire DNA to cure harmful diseases that are out there in the world, and thus she feels that more vampires must be created and contained so that we can use their biology and genetics to cure diseases such as cancer, etc. One of our player characters is traveling with an individual known as Hopkins. Hopkins is a secret agent. Hopkins actually is the one who leaked the Dracula Dossier document to the player characters. She had been captured by the organization known as Edom, and was being interrogated to reveal where she had delivered the dossier to. And she is being held by an individual known as the Hound, who is a Duke of Edom. Duke being gender neutral in this case. There are dukes and duchesses. Hound is currently in control of the interrogation facility. And alas, our players need to escape this vessel that they are currently on. So let's talk about who's playing, what they're playing, and what's going on. So you kind of have these 3 plot lines. So our characters are Jisoo. We will zoom in. Boop. Played by Jess, Burst of Hope. And Jisoo is a hacker sort, also trained in martial arts. Daquan is the next character, a weapons and demolition specialist, former military, and actually a double agent. It was revealed that Daquan is in fact known as Nails, the Duke of Edom. Lastly, there is also Antal. Antal Kuri, who is a blackbagger and assassin. Now, blackbaggers typically drop digital surveillance and things of that nature, but also Antal is a hand-to-hand specialist. So when we break up these 3 people, Jisoo is headed to the control deck to download conspiracy documents and details. Daquan is face to face with a vampire engineered by German scientists in a fight. Then Antal is having coffee with the chief interrogator. So, this is where the three characters are. They are currently split on the Proserpina, which is the name of the vessel. It comes from Roman mythology. It's Persephone in Greek. And the Roman, it's Proserpina. That is Pluto's wife. And so, there's a couple things that need to happen. And we'll talk about their goals. Obtain the documents equals intrusion and physical security. So people are going to be trying to get into the control deck. They're going to have to barricade it. They're going to have to get the files. It's going to take time. So something like this is we'll say digital physical security. And what they have going on their side. The vessel is currently distracted with a high alert vampire on the loose. Because Dr. Draws, who is insane, I shouldn't say insane, although she is mentally unwell. Essentially, she's not thinking clearly. She's obviously under great stress. Essentially, there is a certain degree of imbalance that's occurring there because of her drive to complete the task at hand. And so let's talk about how she might deal with that. So, of some obstacles that can try to come in, first things first is HMS Proserpine ratings. There might be there might be something going through the vents. These are essentially troops, though. So let me search. So okay, here they are. I'll just paste these in. These folks. So those are a challenge. They all have special weapons. They're skilled. There might be another Duke on board. Could be Timna, aka Tyler. So Tyler is a martial artist and part chorus. We can copy some abilities down. It'll build in Wing Chun. Da 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 da. Beep. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see if there's someone else. Could be that Prince, who is another one, former Israeli intelligence, is on there protecting Osprey. Yeah, there's a lot of potential. You know what? I've got a better one. So instead of Tyler, Jack with Seaward Serum if necessary. So I think the way this works is you get in there and you have to combat these soldiers, and then after doing that, it's a pretty clear setup until the next phase. So let's sort of part this out into phases. So phase 1. Daquan must escape or defeat Alrone, which escaping is probably more likely. Escaping is probably the better route. Jisoo must take hold of the command deck. And then lastly, Antal must decide whether or not to become engaged or prepare the escape. And so we're going to sort of part this out into phases, just so, and then talk through and think through the phases. So Daquan is face to face with a killer vampire. We're going to put Jisoo first because we're talking about it. So if we were to set up goals, we'd go, it's beat soldiers successfully, download files, escape to safety. This is a couple of checks, so it's combat and then digital intrusion. And we can try to come up with something if we need to add something. Because if we have 3 soldiers and it's just Jisoo, she might need to lure them out. She might need to, disrupt the environment. She might need to take shielding. There's ways we can do that. Next, let's look at Daquan and Alrune. There she is. So we'll bring this over here. We'll let you see the book. This is the Director's Handbook. Let's go in and let's read a little bit about her. So, with the bottomless pit of atrocities exposed by the fall of Berlin in 1945, few paid mind to the half-century-old records confiscated from the headquarters of the German military intelligence agency, the Abwehr. Documents from Abteilung 3B, small intelligence office of the World War I era German army, were mere historical curiosities. Little was considered lost when the files referencing Project Mandragora were almost entirely destroyed in a swiftly contained fire at the Nuremberg Palace of Justice in 1947. As such, almost no record exists of Agent Alrone or her activities in Europe from 1901 to 1910. So let's talk a little more about her. Hey, Dan, good to see you. She's essentially a seductive vampiric creation. The ability to perform plant-like attacks. So she has vampiric blood, and she also has these she has plant powers as well. So she's very clearly a member of Edom. So let's look at her abilities and let's bring them over. So let's do a snip. Get some abilities just so we can see what's going on here. We will copy that over. And there's some other issues with this because the C words in there. Let's come back to 100. Okay. So the seed ability, which is a mutant ability, Alrone can plant a Mandragora seed in either fertile soil or by spending one additional aberrance, which is vampire powers, if you remember last prep session, in a creature she has seduced. So she would have to try to seduce Daquan, which she has abilities to do so. Over the course of the following week, the seed rapidly grows. If planted in a living creature, the host is affected as if by anthrax, which we can look. 3 weeks after onset, a juvenile Mandragora with all her mother's memories emerges, killing the host. This creature has the same statistics as a homunculus. Let's look at. Let's look at it. So page 108 in the book. Double tap. Da-da-da-da. Vampires, oh my. Alright. The little human. The little human. So small. So, hidden scouts or sentries. We can think about using those. They're little. They're not weak, though. Hard to hit because they're so small. But they don't hit very hard. And they take damage pretty easily. They have some pretty good powers, it looks like. Yeah, let's go back and see what her other abilities are. Next, let's grab these. Boom. So her other abilities is she damages a bunch of people. She causes a bunch of damage if killed. And then she has decent hand-to-hand combat in martial arts. High flexibility. So she's about as strong as one of Dracula's brides. The difference is she has these seed planting things. She could get Daquan with an addictive bite. She knows that they were in league with Orlok. She won't have weapons on her. But, excuse me. She does have the abilities to howl and few other abilities. She has seduction, terrified of fire, and defoliant. But must sleep in the fertile soil. So she's going to attempt. She would probably attempt to take control of Daquan, then kill Dr. Draws. So the biggest issue here is if Daquan gets away, she will attack Dr. Draws and cause a bunch of problems. Yet another vampire loose into the world. So let's pace this out. So, dramatic confrontation. Excuse me. And or chase. Throughout the Proserpina, Hound will be alerted. there is another vampire there as well. Ileana Dragoi is there as well. Ileana will be let out by Dr. Draws. And then we have a fatal four-way between Alrone, Ileana, the Doctor, and Daquan. So that's an interesting one. This is one where Daquan is in over his head, and he will have to use cleverness to get out of it. I'm not too sure how this goes down. Thinking through it, Alrone will most likely try to connect to with Ileana and join minds. I think that's the strategy there. So we compared vampires in, I believe, our session 10 prep. Let's take a look at that. So we have a couple. So Ileana is, I think, a little more powerful. Just barely. I think they're close. They're very close. So Ileana has slightly more abilities. Alrone has more like super spies and secret agent abilities. However, Ileana has what I'd call the vampiric superhuman abilities, such as strength and speed and the spider climb. So I would give the advantage to her. I think they're going to mesmerize each other and use it to their advantages. Beep. Zoom in. All right. So let's paste this out. Let's block it out. So choose fight or flight. Been working all day. And then when I finished working, I went right into my game design job. So Daquan will have to choose fight or flight. Vampiric escalation. Either by Daquan's choice or Dr. Traw's choice, she is going to open that coffin. And Ileana is going to be mad from the inside. Largely, she got drilled by an actual electric drill that Dr. Draws went down into the coffin with. You could hear the screams. So that's terrifying. Reminder of our content or our warning. You know, this is a game that has intense scenes of violence and vampiric mesmerism, other mature themes. Should have put that at the top, but you know, it's good to remind ourselves that these are common themes in vampire fiction. So Alrune confrontation. That is enough to possibly keep those two busy for a while. Orlok's not on the vessel. And then escape. Possible deal with Jack situation. So compared to the one at the top, so Jisoo is going to deal with soldiers, steal files, and then escape to safety. The way I see this going is Daquan getting out of there or dying. It could go either way. It would be very, very, very sad for Daquan to die at this point, but it is a possibility. Or to be captured. You know, they would probably capture Daquan and load him with Seaward Serum and possibly vampiric DNA. And then Daquan becomes the final boss, becomes Dracula. And then, of course, finding the escape. So, lastly, Hound situation. So, this is choose to deceive or defeat. So, the Hound, which is a code name, is this individual. She's right here. She's kind of been having a flirtatious meal with Antal. They've been sharing coffee. They have common roots. And she's going to have to respond to the alarms that have gone off. She will learn that Hopkins has escaped. And kill whoever is helping her escape. So she'll have to be defeated at some point. As we look at the Duke's abilities, boop. She's a heavy weapon specialist. So she will not go against Edom. She is the best at finding folks. So let's take another screen and add it to our prep. This is very useful. Dang it. And all Dukes have several other abilities too. We will look at those. Because this is going to be one of the most wild confrontations. Then her other abilities. All Dukes have these abilities, unless otherwise noted. They're all tough. Next, let's start deciding what we find. So, conspiracy breakdown. So these are the things that we're going to find within. And let's take a look at it. So first things first, let's go to Castle Bran. Bran, not Braun. Castle Dracula. So there's a lot of opportunities to choose where it is, and we've decided that we would use Castle Bran. So we will assume that there is some So we will break down the castle. So could always be another one. We could put it in the Carpathian Pass. I just don't know. Let's make a decision. So there's Bran Castle, which is great. It's got a bunch of cool stuff. Okay. So we're going to use Castle Bran as far as the architecture. Beep, beep. And let's take some screens and get them into our prep. The main reason we do this is largely so that we can beep. Alright. So that when we're running the session, we have everything in front of us. So, Dracula's castle is in Bran. He has Romani, or Ruvari Gigani, who are Romani. Werewolf defenses led by Quincy Morris. Let's get some different music on. All right, so a lot of different places folks can go. We'll look through the book and see what it tells us. So Bronn So these are suggestions for scenes. This is essentially where Dracula is going to set up a false death and then escape. So these are all establishing shots. They're all great for giving good information. Hello, Arberlin. Good to see you. So let's sort of talk about... And let's talk about... I'm muted? Are you sure? No, I can see my levels. I don't appear to be muted. So no one in chat can hear anything? Can you hear anything? No, I just listened to the stream. That's my voice. So, yeah. If you can't hear me, you will need to look at your settings on your side. Thank you so much for letting me know that I'm not muted. It's just you. You can't hear me. Sorry, Arberlin. Yeah. Or it's not Arberlin. It is Slavi. Alright, so let's break this down, what they need to do to get back. So, first things first, re-entry into Romania under high heat. Next, traveling to Braun. These are lots of opportunities for some interesting and spooky scenes. Gaining entry to the castle. And let's bring up some royalty-free images. Let's license some, if possible. So this castle, which I am downloading, is the same castle that we just had a map for. Let's drop this in. So it's pretty cool. So let's take a look. Couple things. Oop. There we go. So, ways we can make it interesting. They won't be able to just fly in. Likewise, they won't be able to just escape. So let's talk about their escape routes as well from the Proserpina. Retake their ship. Chicken Little, who's an NPC, comes in via helicopter. Proserpina explodes. They are abandoned. At sea, get rescued. So there's a few ways this will go. They'll either rig the offshore facility they're at. And it's good to have you back. Glad you can hear it now. They will rig the Proserpina to explode, or Chicken Little, who's an NPC, will save them on a helicopter, or they will be able to fight back and get to their ship, where they have their George Clooney boat captain and the rest of their friends. That's how we'll describe them. So those are their three options, and then let's kind of figure out the obstacles. This is more Deus Ex Machina preparedness. This is big ol' fight. If they decide to swim, they're going to need to be rescued, and there's a few ways they can do that. They do have people looking for them. They're abandoned at sea, get rescued by an unlikely friend. Margot, Elvis, Mimit, Luxai. So there are people that could be monitoring them. Their former party member T, she could be looking for them. Mimit Luxai, who's a medievalist who they've had like 10 sessions with, is a possibility. I wouldn't take Mimit out of the equation. Also, I would consider Elvis, who's also a Duke of Edom, and Margot. They might have they might be keeping tabs on the operation, and they're not too far off. That would really upset Antal, because he does not like Margot, but she is technically an ally. So I think those are the three options. They can fight through a bunch of HMS ratings, which are up here. Those soldiers, they're all very strong. They're all like special forces. They can make a preparedness roll, and Chicken Little will fly in on a helicopter to rescue them. Or they end up lost at sea and they have to be rescued. And then that, we're thinking cinematically like a movie as opposed to moment to moment. Moment to moment would be like a traditional D20 role-playing game. But this is a vampire spy thriller, so there must be opportunities for them to save themselves. And they have MOSs and things like that. MOSs being one-time automatically succeed abilities. And there would be equipment on the ship. Like, there's also small boats that they can get to. They can get into a small boat and sail. And in that watercraft, try to get rescued. And it would be fun to do, like, an episode where 3 of them are lost at sea trying to survive and eventually get back. I'd probably have a Jordanian prince rescue them and be like, so... It could be an unlikely ally, so one of the vampires might be willing to keep them... One of the vampires might have a way out. They could get tricked by Alrone. She's very... Dr. Draws might have a secret. I can get us out of here. You know, Dr. Draws gets them out, and then, you know, they murder her or something like that, which I could see happening. So, scenes we need to think about after they get out is heading to Dracula's castle, which will be Bron Castle. This is an actual, I just licensed it licensed it off Shutterstock. That is the actual building. It's a real place. This is a map of the inside. And then as we look at our books, we have these establishing shots of different places in the castle. So the challenge is going to be, how do they gain entrance? And then what does this look like? So let's see how many locations we need. Let's go up to Castle Bron. And we'll do another snip. Boop. Couple of because they're going to have a hard time getting into the countryside. And essentially, so it was fully restored, blah, blah, blah. It has a battlements, crypt, museum, offices, preserved rooms, the dungeon, and is along a secret passage from the courtyard. Some things that we need to do there. Signs that point to Dracula's mill. So Dracula's castle isn't where the final big fight's going to take place. That'll take place at Dracula's mill. I think they're going to have an episode where they find Dracula, fight Dracula. Dracula escapes. They're going to chase him to the mill. They're going to fight all the way through his true fortress, and then go into his tomb and try to kill him. That's the way it's going to play out. So let's look at some of these places that could potentially point there. I think the crypt is in preserved rooms, possibly the museum. Let's see. So dark and cool it is here below the castle's mightiest tower. It might be close. Blissed out goth tourist, antiquarian, takings, rubbings, the Hungarian, the journalist, or medievalist. Medievalist is Mimit. If you're really, really, really unlucky, Dracula himself. One of Dracula's brides could be in there. We've already done enough vampires. Clues, fresh soil scattered over the stone floor. Names and lineages of the tombstones help narrow down Dracula's true identity and perhaps indicate families you shouldn't trust today. The emblem of a dragon with its tail around its own throat, or possibly just a cross of St. George in flames. Grabbing bones in a chase, da-da-da. And then the dungeon. Yeah, this is going to require... I think the museum would be the best evidence of pointing to Dracula's mill. And it may be Dracula's not even there at all. It may be... So here's what they're going to try to do, though. I have to put myself in my player's position. The players are going to try to collect Orlok. I don't know if you remember that guy. Orlok. Where are you, Orlok? Aha! This guy, the Nosferatu. They have him imprisoned. He's way stronger than them. So, they're going to have to get Orlok into the country. Let's add that as a note. Ugh. So, re-entry into Romania. So, collecting Orlok and transporting. So, yes, and I think it's probably going to be like a tapestry or something like that. You know, there will be a tapestry, there will be paintings, there might be diaries. I mean, because Castle Bran is a tourist site, and that's sort of what the game points to. Like, most of the Castle Draculas you'll find are tourist traps. They're not the actual one, but you'll find evidence that points to, like, a collapsing tool. And I think Dracula is trying to lay low, so Dracula wants to set up a false fight as if he's defeated, and then escape. That's something Dracula does in the game, too, where he's like, oh no, you beat me, and then he goes off and causes more problems elsewhere, because he assumes people will leave him alone, and he can go off, you know, planning global domination if left alone. So, it absolutely is. That's what we notice with a lot of this. Like, the Hotel Dracula is one that I want to include as well, but not in this campaign, not this time. So, let's look at Dracula's mill. Let's go there. Let's really take a look at this. So, 297. Pew. They have to find Dracula. They can hurt him with... Orlok. Orlok can hurt Dracula. Orlok's very powerful. Dracula could kill Orlok. This is a good one from Dante's Inferno. But essentially it's like a national park, and then there's going to be this waterfall. So, I think they will be chasing the minions. There is a voucher that has been placed in chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube, below the video for 20% off all Nice Black Agents products. So... I think what we need to do is we need to set up the fight. So I think the players, if they attack, so establish disguises, gain access and entry. Dracula will know who they are. He has seen them several times. And what the... Hey. Take an assign. Establish a new vampire minion, or we'll say spawn. And murder the rest. So, this is sort of the way it would go. Dracula would promise Daquan, you can take my place one day, which we know is always a lie. Jisoo, what he'll try to do is take control of Jisoo's mind and take Jisoo as a bride, even though Dracula is not her type at all. Her partner, Colette, is. Oh, he'll try to take Antal. That's even better. He'll take Antal as an assign. And then kill Jisoo. I think that's good poetically. So Dracula is going to lure them there and be like, let them in. Except he wants them to feel they're actually being sneaky. Depending on how they pitch it, they will have a very powerful vampire with them. It would behoove us, so Senior Park Ranger, Diana Silivasi. I'm sort of bouncing around here, but I kind of need to see how they go through the mill. So there's going to be a ranger's post. That's going to be its own adventure. That's going to be a whole session, essentially. Then with the final one... yeah, there's going to be Dracula Commandos. So there'll be a bunch of plummeting water. I have the whirlpool. And then Dracula dies here. There's quakes one last time. The tunnels above crack and shift, and the underground lake starts to flood into the lower chamber. To escape. There needs to be a big escape. Let's actually look at Dracula's ability scores. Worth doing. Worth doing. Page 56 is Dracula. There he is. Handsome devil. He's way stronger than Orlok. He's over twice as strong. He's gonna beat the shit out of Orlok. That's it. I mean, Orlok is strong as well. Yeah, it's like they say, give him a bunch of powers. No compulsions. So he's the tough one. So this is interesting. It is the man himself, the Dossier reference. Yeah. Essentially, essentially, Dracula is going to light Orlok up. But Orlok can distract Dracula, and that's the whole thing too. Like, if Dracula hits Orlok, Orlok does heal. Like, he regenerates. And it will wear him down. So their best bet is to send Orlok and then, like, set up, like, a sniper rifle stake to the heart. When Dracula does get wounded, he will flee. He will flee, and he will head to the mill. So let's do this. So snoop around, find him, fight him, pursue. And it's going to go something like this. So Orlok battle, attempt to finish, Dracula escapes. Theoretically, they could kill him too, but they might not kill him permanently. And they will have Le Dragon Noir with him. The thing about Dracula is he is, like, even Orlok. Like, Orlok could kill them if he wanted to. The player characters, that is. It may be Dracula turns Orlok on them, because he's just that much more persuasive. It wouldn't take much either. He'd be like, I have many brides. There, take that one. And he'll point to, like, a mannequin or something and trick Orlok, because Orlok's not that smart. Yeah, this is going to be a big one, but let's look back at our original prep. So we're planning this Dracula sequence stuff, and the reason we're doing that is so when the time comes and we actually have to execute, or if the players get through the other side, we're prepared for it. So let's back up. So Currently, what's coming next is they have to survive a scary vampire encounter. Alrone, essentially Eva Brone, and Dr. Jacqueline Seward, who's Dr. Draws, a member of Edom, are going to attempt to kill Daquan. They also have another vampire, one of Dracula's other brides, with them, and she knows that they've found Orlok, and she's very interested, because Orlok is her cousin. Hopkins is essentially helping them obtain all that information, the location of Castle Dracula, how to get in, who are the key members of the conspiracy, what are the defenses, and essentially what Dracula's overall goal is. Because Dracula has already tried to invade England once during the campaign, and he was somewhat defeated. And then we need to escape the HMS Proserpina. The players are on three different... They're split, and so one of them is attempting to download the documents, one of them is fighting the vampire and the doctor, and the other one is currently disguised and keeping the most dangerous non-vampire on that ship busy. Jisoo is going to get into fights with soldiers and then attempt to digitally intrude into the computer systems. Or at least, what I should say, since this isn't a railroad, this is the direction it's headed in. If you remember, I recommend checking our prep on the Thriller Spine to figure out exactly sort of the general pacing, as how we set up our episodes. If the fight goes easy, we will drop a Jack, who will have Seward. Essentially, they are a souped-up super soldier. You know, have the Winter Soldier fight Jisoo. Alrone, the Mandragora vampire, plant vampire, is going to attempt to take over Daquan's mind, seduce him, plant a seed, and grow a homunculus out of him. If that fight goes weird, you know, they're gonna release one of Dracula's other brides, and there will be a big, ugly, scary fight. Hound either needs to be deceived or defeated. You know, she's currently... She won't betray Edom, the organization, the opposition force that's attempting to control Dracula. But if all hits the fan, she might be persuaded. So when it escapes, they're either going to have to retake their vessel. One of their NPC friends will come in if they make a successful preparedness check. Chicken Little will come to save them. And if the Proserpina explodes and they're abandoned at sea, they have some small votes and they can find an unlikely friend. Either the Doctor or the Hound are the two most likely. I can hear them now. Then they're going to get a conspiracy breakdown and they're going to learn that Dracula has holed up in Bronn. Dracula has put the invasion on hold, and Dracula is feeling weak because of the thwarted opera plan. But that's where he is currently at, and he is approachable and defeatable. When the players do get back to dry land, they're going to have to go fetch Orlok, who they currently have in sort of the vampire-slaying Rube Goldberg machine. Then they're going to have to figure out a way into Romania. They are not well liked there. There are wanted posters with their faces on it. But that's where Dracula is, and this is their chance to get him. This is their chance to end the conspiracy. Then they'll need to get entry to the castle. I think the castle's going to be warm. I think there's going to be people there. It's still a tourist site. I have to figure out exactly where Dracula is. I almost want to make him like a docent in the museum. Oh, yes, this is splendid. They would never see it coming. They would never see the docent in the museum. The museum curator being Dracula. Especially he has glasses like this. What's that? Yeah. Um, Dracula's going to attempt to convert them. He's going to want to turn one into a new heir, one into an assign. A wax model would be funny. That would be hilarious. Oh, it looks so lifelike. The players are going to try to release another vampire on him. This could go very poorly. I do need to have a plan if the players, they have a spell that could help them in this situation. And this spell is in Le Dragon Noir, which is, the devil's, it's the Book of the Dragon. It's what Dracula learned his powers from in the Scholomance. They have a copy and they have been translating it. So, they could always do the Destroy Vampire spell on him, and maybe he survives, maybe not. We could see. So they have some tricks. They also have Van Helsing's Vampire Hunting Kit, which is helpful, not perfect, but as we check Dracula's ability scores, what are his banes? Sunlight. It's going to be hard. He has so many powers. And that's sort of the exciting thing about this. Like, this is the big vampire for them to beat. Extremely powerful. So that's exciting. So we're building up to the final, 4 episodes. There may be an episode the week of Gen Con. We're looking at recording it in advance and then playing it during the usual time. Streaming it before, during, or afterwards. We'll figure it out. Yeah, but the exciting thing is we're coming up on it. We've gone. If they don't use Orlok, that's going to cause other problems. Orlok will hunt them out. So the thing about Orlok is he's not as captured as they think he is. Like, they think they have him so used up. If they don't use Orlok, they're going to have to use their Vampire Hunting Kit. And they have the same. They have Van Helsing's. They stole it from a museum. If they stake Dracula in the heart, that will cause massive damage to him. But they would have to stake him in the heart, and he is very powerful. If you watch our last prep episode, we talked through different vampire powers. Like, even if they weren't fighting Dracula and they were just fighting Count Orlok, Orlok would kill all the player characters fairly easily. The reason they didn't is they had a device that would have destroyed him. So it's kind of a rock and a hard place for the players. The best place where they could finish Dracula off is in the Dracula's Mill. And within the mill is the tomb, so they will fight through the mill, and then they will find the tomb and face him there. So that's our prep session for the week. We're going to have explosions and fireworks on the HMS Proserpina. Then the players need to decide what they want to do next. They do have a few leads. They might not go straight to the castle. They might go to J.Q. Harker first, who's a legacy. They might try to contact the Vatican again, or other religious leaders, other vampire hunters, to see if they can get some assistance. They may spend a while attempting to infiltrate. Their best bet is what they plan for, is turning Orlok. That's a 50-50, though. That's like asking the Incredible Hulk to fight Thor or something like that. Hulk might, he might not. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. My name is Grant Ellis. I'm the producer here on WebDM's Twitch channel. Saturday, we'll be playing the show. For those of you on YouTube, you can check out these links below the video. For those of you on Twitch, we are playing Night's Black Agents, which is a vampire spy thriller game by Pelgrane Press. We're very appreciative of their sponsorship of the show. The campaign is the Dracula Dossier. It is a highly collaborative and improvisational campaign by game designer Kenneth Haidt and many others. It's about a collection of 7 books, and it is the peak of their vampire campaigns. It's one of the best ones they have. And the music that we've been playing throughout the stream is the soundtrack Dust and Mirrors. If you're interested in getting 20% off all Night's Black Agents products, there is a code that I've placed in chat. It is good till August 31st. So as always, our outro is our intro. See you on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern.